Tonight, from Dry Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's the second and final meeting of the regular season between the Union and Inter Miami CF. From our 6 ABC studios in Philadelphia, welcome to Union Prekick Live with the club's all-time leading scorer, Sebastian Letou. I'm Dave Leno. We'll start the show with big news. A few hours ago, the club announced the permanent signing of Julian Carranza, no longer on loan from Inter Miami. That transfer is now permanent, so the Union have him on the books. Seba, what do you make of the news? Carranza, a team-high 7 goals with Gazdag this year.
I think it's a great news. It's a great move from the team, especially after the hat-trick he got last game against DC, and now he's going to play for much longer.
So the Union are coming off one of the most historic wins in club history, a 7-0 thrashing over DC United last Friday. Here's all the goals from that game. Seba, was this much of an onslaught from the Union offensively, or just pour out of the back from DC in this one?
I mean, I would say a credit for the Union to really play very well this game. I think everything was on, the passing, the moving.
I know, Sebastian, getting that second, even third goal has really been hard to come by this year. Now you put up a 7 spot. How does that change the mindset of the scoring opportunities moving forward, gearing up for the matchup against Miami tonight?
I mean, it just shows them that they can do it. It's kind of like coming off, two kind of counter performance in Columbus and in Chicago when they didn't score any goals, and during the entire season they have been scoring almost 1 goal each game. So, of course, stay defensively organized and not give him a goal.
And let's go back to Julian Carranza, because he gets the hat-trick last game against DC. If you recount, he had a 7-game goalless drought. The last goal prior to all those goals against DC was against LAFC. So for Jim Curtin and sporting director Ernst Tanner, they had a decision to make amongst their staff whether to purchase that contract of Julian Carranza from Inter Miami. And here's a little bit from Curtin on Monday about those conversations throughout the technical staff.
We were constantly talking about it. When's the right moment? What makes the most sense? There's a lot more variables than just, flipping a switch and deciding to do it. There's pieces that have to move with it in good form. But, as of right now, he's still not eligible for this game.
So again, that was on Monday. Because he was formerly on loan from Inter Miami, he wasn't eligible to play, the club that loaned him. But now that the transfer is permanent to the Union, he is eligible. And by the way, not in the starting lineup. He is on the bench tonight. I thought what impressed me, and you and I called the game on radio, was that Carranza's work rate, not just offensively in his movement around the box, but defensively in that game. I thought he did a ton of running against DC United.
Yes, and it's how he scored, I think, all his goals at the beginning of the season, working hard for the team and, get awarded for this hard work offensively than by goals. But
comes in here with some pressure, right? Then they bring in Ua, so a lot of the pressure from Union supporters were levied on the shoulders of Ua. I think Carranza's handled it beautifully from the start of the season.
Yes, briefly, and I think the fact that when you play as a forward and has been in those shoes, you would like to get this connection between the forward and the number 10 you play with. And when you see and you really enjoy playing together, good things happen. It's not like you are fighting for a spot, but like whatever you do, you will benefit the team, because you can see they are happy to be together on the field.
Well, let's see if Ua can keep it rolling tonight as we get to our starting 11 from Jim Curtin. It's the second game in 6 days. 3 changes from the matchup against DC. Blake and company with 8 shutouts this year. Bizo comes in for Harriel. Also, Finley will make his 3rd start. Elliott picked up a knock in the DC game, will not play tonight. Flock is on the left, who was beautiful, really came up into the attack. In fact, had an assist in the game against DC. Bejoya with the brace. Obviously, you mentioned the key passes of Gazdag. Again, Burke makes the start for Carranza's on the bench. Burke starting paired with Ua.
Yes, I think Burke starting this week just because we know about Carranza being able to start. So I think during all the week, the team has been working with Burke forward, to prepare this game. But we'll probably see Carranza coming into the game if we need him. And
as for Phil Neville's Inter Miami team, coming off a 1-0 loss to Orlando after Lowe allowed an own goal seemingly at the death. Look for Yedlin to get up high. Callender is going to make the start and goal. McVeigh's going to sit a little bit. Mabika's key on set pieces. Moto will also sit back. Gregory, look for him to get advanced in the attack. Remember Duke, he had a great game on May 18th in Chester. He has freedom to drift all around. Pozuelo obviously is not starting. Their new acquisition. Campana has 8 of 18 goals for Inter Miami, Seba. Rodriguez, the Colombian, is going to make his first MLS start tonight. Taylor's also key out wide and on set pieces as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to be careful about Duke and Rodriguez on the left side. So Baizo are going to be very busy with Bedoya, just because Rodriguez, like you say, first game for him, he wants to impress, have a great start in his home stadium. And Duke, I think, who was the best player when they came to Philadelphia and did a 0-0. So it's a team that we need to be careful because they have great weapon offensively, but it doesn't really show in the stats because they are the worst attack in the league right now with Chicago. But we don't want them to wake up tonight, and I think we just need a serious defensive play from the team.
Yeah, they're playing a 4-3-3, at least that's what we're calling it to start, but they played it 3 in the back as well in the past. We'll see how they line up tonight. There's a look at Michael Uwa, see if he can keep it rolling for the Union on the road. On the other side, Seba with his eye on the pitch when we return in just a moment. Welcome back to the studio with Sebastian Letou. I'm Dave Leto. It's now time for Seba's Eye on the Pitch, 2 keys to a Union victory tonight. And you begin with controlling the tempo this evening.
Yeah, I think, now being, one of the best teams in the East, when you go at home, of course, you have the tempo, but away as well. And it's something they did very well against DC. The way that they kind of pressure right away, play quick, some throw-in, some free kick, not really putting any time for the defense to kind of get themselves, acclimate to the tempo they put in the game. I think it's very important. And of course, when they need that to kind of slow down and drop the line, they can do the same way. But we need a little bit of difference between them pressing at moment and them kind of sitting back.
And I hope that the Union really continue to press, because we've seen them dominate like the New York City games and the DC games, but you want to see that replicate on the road. Maybe we'll see that in the first 15-20 minutes off of goal kicks, off a calendar. And your second point is the offensive movement.
Yes, and we saw the great movement in the team with all the goals against DC. So if the connection tonight with Baizo, Bedoya, Wagner and Flag keep it the same, and of course the front 3 with Burke coming in a mix, and you can see the movement really be connected, we can see another lots of goals tonight.
So the other big news this week around the club and across the league, where the MLS All-Stars were announced, 2 Union players were selected. Andre Blake for a 4th time, which is a club record. Kai Wagner, back-to-back years going to the All-Star game. Your thoughts on these 2 guys going to St. Paul to battle the Liga MX All-Stars again?
No surprise for me, for sure. Those 2 really deserve to be in the All-Star. I think a few more players in the Union could have been as well there, but I think for those 2, you saw all their stats and how the defense have been so good. It's really well deserved for Andre Blake and Kai Wagner.
As far as snubs, to your point, I got 4 of them. Elliott, Martinez, Gazdag, and Glezis. I mean, Elliott was voted a mid-season Defensive Player of the Year in MLS. And how about the work rate of Glezis, what he's doing too?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to understand sometimes some choice of the league. Like the All-Star ballot is not, it's a vote from the fan, from the media, from the players. So it's kind of hard to know, where the vote goes. But like you say, Elliott being, named mid-season Defender of the Year, not having him in an All-Star, it's a bit surprising. But, it's sometimes like that. But I think for Union fans, we all know that he would have deserved to be there.
And look, if it was East against West and not against the Liga MX All-Stars, that maybe some of those guys would be at the All-Star game, but still a great season thus far as we start Game 20 coming up at the top of the hour. And with more of the matchup, we'll send it to the guys who had the play-by-play call, JP Delacamera and Danny Higginbottom.
Thanks, Dave. Congrats to Andre and Kai for making the All-Star team. Let's talk about some of the other big news, though, Danny. The signing of Julian Carranza, no longer a lone player. He's Philly-owned.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. It's wonderful. I think when he first came to the club as, on loan initially, not too sure people knew what to expect. Things didn't go according to plan for him at Inter Miami, but he just got it straight away. And the plays that got forward, then you bring it into this game because now it's all about the next game.
Last time these 2 clubs met, back in Chester, Pennsylvania, a 0-0 draw. Let's see, Dave, what tonight brings.
Yeah, looking for a different result tonight on the road, far from the Union perspective. And a look at Daniel Gazdag making a lot of key passes. Was great in the DC game, to JP and Danny's point, but last scored against Portland on May 22nd on the road. Can we get another road goal tonight from Daniel? We'll continue our coverage after this word on PHL 17. Paxton Aronson is on the bench tonight. Could make an impact in this game down in Fort Lauderdale. A Union win would put the club in first place because the Red Bulls are idle. Miami needs a win. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot in 10th in the Eastern Conference. Back in Philadelphia, now time for Watching You, presented by Independence Blue Cross. 2 players that we're keeping an eye out for tonight. And I'll begin with Gazdag. I think if you could break down that line, in particular Moda, who's going to sit a little bit deeper, and Gregory's going to get forward, and also on the left-hand side, because I believe they're The right back Yedlin's going to get it really up high. So I think if Gazda get forward, in particular that left-hand side drift out wide to put some balls in, I think he's going to have a good night tonight, Inter Miami.
I hope so, because I'm going with Ura, so I really hope those two can really connect. But just the type of run he's making, I think, can be really deadly when they play away on counter-attack. And having Burke, playing with him tonight, I can see him really like running around Burke and playing those second balls and the deflection from Corey Burke. So I see like Ura maybe get another goal tonight, maybe two. But I hope to be really very good offensively in his runs.
Are you expecting some nice balls over the top? Because we saw some great direct play from Jose Martinez in the last game against DC. Might we see the same in the first 15 minutes?
Yes, I hope so. Especially having Jose who making great ball. You saw in the first goal against Alejandro Bedoya against DC, who was really on point. He was kind of something the lack of his passing, especially the long ball. But you can see right now he's confident to find them, and I think we can really see some space in the back of the Miami defense.
You commented about the pressing earlier tonight. What do you expect in the early going of this one to press perhaps off a goal kicks from Callender of Miami?
Yeah, goal kicking, but especially when they got the ball in the center backs defense, as soon as they play on the wide, you can see Bedoya and Flack, pressing high and having the defense, really following them.
So the last two matchups against Inter Miami have been draws. Can it be a different result tonight down in Fort Lauderdale? We'll see. That will do it for Union Prekick Live. 7i will see you at halftime. JP Delacamera and Danny Higginbottom have the play-by-play call coming up after the break. Enjoy the first half, everyone, as the Union look for back-to-back wins for the first time since April as they battle Inter Miami. Coming up.